Hello, and welcome back to another video. If you're looking for recommendations on what manhwa to read, then here are some that I've read recently that might be of interest. Manhwa titles are timestamped in the video for your convenience. Our first manhwa for today is The Lord of Coins, a regression manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 125 on. Its main character is Aaron Steelegard, the pitiful lord of a noble household who did not live up to his family's legacy. Even with a book that allowed him to trade with other dimensions, he was swindled and fooled in both his real life and by people in other dimensions, which only served to accelerate his family's downfall instead of saving it. Through a somewhat miraculous event, he regresses back in time to his younger self, but with one major difference. He now has the ability to trade dimensions without the book itself, some of these even being upgraded. Will Aaron be able to change the future he once lived? Can he amass enough wealth and power to take revenge on those who wronged him? The story is 10 out of 10. A treat to read, The Lord of Coins has been an enjoyable story about Aaron's second chance at life. His past mistakes are still very fresh in his mind, so he takes steps to forego his naivety and instead utilize the abilities he now has to protect the family that are still here. This has foreseeable consequences, but his journey so far is a satisfying one. The characters are 9 out of 10. With a multitude of different dimensions at its disposal, there comes just as many possible worlds and characters along with it. This list of people that Aaron interacts with from other dimensions alone all serve to either be exploited or to expand his ever-growing power. There may be some room here for some related story beats due to it having so many different dimensions to tap into. The art is 9 out of 10. With a multitude of dimensions also comes a multitude of art to display these dimensions. From Murim, fantasy, technological dimensions, there are various depictions of these different worlds that offer a satisfying change of palette whenever things may seem to get a little stale in its pacing. The Lord of Coins has been a satisfying regression manhwa that I've had the pleasure of reading so far. So if you're a fan of these types of manhwa and want a fantasy base instead, or you've read I Shall Master This Family from my previous videos, then The Lord of Coins should be your cup of tea. This next manhwa is the Dragon Slayer Academy's Hotshot, a regression manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 81 on. Its protagonist is Rude Donatos, a hot-headed individual who is part of a group of dragon slayers trying to save humanity from the dragons, beings who were, for better or for worse, making humanity extinct. Rude's group, however, failed in their endeavor as everyone died except for Rude, who still tried valiantly but still ultimately died, or so he thought. As he wakes up, he notices that he seems to have regressed to the past, but his brother, Aesir, who was part of the Dragon Slayers that Rude was in, is nowhere to be seen. In fact, it's as if he doesn't exist. Rude, having to come to terms with this fact, searches for traces of his brother while also stepping forward to do his part in winning against the dragons. The story is 8 out of 10. Rude's situation is a little unique for a regression manhwa, at least for those that I've read. It's almost as if he's in an alternate timeline due to Aesir not existing, but clearly the mystery of where his brother is plagues Rude's mind. This also is partly the reason why he's able to pick up the mantle and increase his own strength so that he can bear the responsibility that his brother once did. The characters are also 8 out of 10. The Dragon Slayer group are quite the characters, but Rude's trauma from his first life affects him more than he thinks. This changes their attitude towards him, at least compared to his previous life, and some further development can be seen in all of them, albeit some more than others. The art is 6 out of 10. It's the weakest aspect, in my opinion, for this manhwa. Initially reading it, it gave off an impression of being a little rough around the edges for its display of the characters and the environment around. I do think that it has improved over its 81 chapters, but it could also be that the art style just isn't my palette. So if you're looking for a regression manhwa that doesn't just give the main character another chance, but gives him a reason to step forward in the first place, then the Dragon Slayer Academy's Hotshot would be a good read for you. Our next manhwa is How to Divorce a Dragon Beautifully, a modern manhwa that I've finished reading now, as it's 55 chapters long. Its main character is Jong Seyun, a rabbit folk living in a modern-day Earth where there are beast folk who live looking like humans. They live their lives just as regular humans do, with some more potential complications. Seiyun dreams of having the typical imagination romance while attending university and spots a senior who she ends up having a crush on. When she finally has the courage to confess, things go a little awry as she accidentally confesses to another senior instead. Will she be able to navigate herself out of this, or will things just get more confusing? The story is 7 out of 10. A story about a modern-day budding romance with some slight fantasy elements mixed in. How to Divorce a Dragon Beautifully has no world-ending stakes involved in any of it, but instead has you connecting and relating to the characters that are just trying to live out their lives, albeit with some more complications due to their backgrounds. The characters are 8 out of 10. From personalities to personal circumstances to touching friendships, there's a sufficient amount of character diversity that gives that much more character to the individual characters that are important to the manhwa. The art is 8 out of 10. While not anything stunning, the manhwa does depict its characters and settings in a more casual, loose style that really hits the type of story that it's going for. Seiyun's antics and overall nervousness from trying to achieve her romantic fantasy is charming and cute. How to Divorce a Dragon Beautifully is a rare breed of manhwa that I hadn't had that much exposure to, and that's the short and sweet kind. It's a little bit short considering some of the other titles I've covered on this channel, but it's very much a sweet one. So if you're looking for a modern romance manhwa that has some slight fantasy mixed in but don't mind that somewhat short length, then take a look at How to Divorce a Dragon Beautifully. This next manhwa is The Hero Becomes Duke's Eldest Son, a reincarnation regression manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 31 on. Its protagonist is Aiden, a quintessential hero who saved humanity from destruction as he killed the Demon Lord, but quickly thereafter he's betrayed by those he thought were his friends and companions and dies shortly after. Aiden wakes up to see that he is reincarnated as Aiden Remus, the eldest son of a duke 15 years before the awakening of the Demon Lord that he took part in taking down. And now the Demon Lord is merged with a soul? A lot of questions need to be answered, and Aiden can only take one step at a time to try and answer them. But first things first, his friends need to pay. The potential is 8 out of 10. Aiden's main motivation is paying back the friends who intentionally eliminated him, but that requires getting assimilated with his environment and getting stronger to face them without having to worry about being beaten again. Challenges and situations face Aiden as the story is slowly unfolding itself, but it provides an end goal and decent pacing so far. The art is 8 out of 10. The presentation of the Demon Lord post-reincarnation is cute, but it's clear the relationship between the Demon Lord and Aiden is one of forced cooperation, while Aiden's growth as the son of the Duke is shown well, as it's currently developing. So if you're looking for a reincarnation regression manhwa that takes a mix of the two genres' cliched scenarios while trying to explore its own unique style, then keep tabs on The Hero Become Duke's Eldest Son. Welcome to the highlight portion of today's video as we look at how one of the manhwas mentioned in a previous video is doing as I've continued reading it. Slight spoiler warning as we will be discussing the events in the manhwa since my previous opinion. Today's highlight is The Greatest Estate Developer, which I've now read up to chapter 152 on. Info card and description will have links to my original opinion. Kim Soo-ho is our protagonist, or more so Lloyd Frontera, as he's been up to a multitude of different tasks to ensure the safety of the world he now lives in. These tasks range from having to help the mermen, racing centaurs, and appeasing dragons, which show the challenges and humorous ways that Lloyd tackles them in. All these tasks are to acquire materials to prevent the fate of the world from ending it. The most interesting portion, in my opinion, from the 20 plus chapters since we've last talked, is the fact that one of these materials is seemingly in Seoul, out of all places, and this shocks Lloyd to the core. But having to resolve himself, he journeys onward and visits his hometown that he lost all those chapters ago now. Javier and Lloyd successfully retrieve the material in a humorous and touristy fashion. I'm curious to know what's in store for these two after the latest arc is finished. On a complete side note though, clearly there has to be more development between Lloyd and the Queen soon, right? Right? Please, for us romance junkies. My previous scores for this manhwa were 10 out of 10 for all of my categories, and this score stays the same for all of it. It keeps its flawless score due to multiple reasons though. Lloyd traveling back to Seoul and having to face his old hometown was an emotional yet a good wake-up call for him. Will the prophesized demise of his new home come to fruition, or will he be able to avoid it? The accompanying cast, from the new dragons to the mermaids, Havia and the Queen, all provide an assortment of reactions and expressions to Lloyd's antics that you almost feel bad for them considering what Lloyd is putting them through. These hilarious, touching, serious, and amicable scenes are what keep bringing me back to enjoy this manhwa whenever I have the chance to read it. The Greatest Estate Developer is one of my favorite manhwas to recommend to people who don't want a super serious story but would like a good laugh or two in between. It's also a good start for anyone who's wanting to start reading manhwas for the first time and want at least a good set of chapters to read from. Just don't let Lloyd's expression scare you too much now. Would you agree or would you not? Write down in the comment section down below your thoughts on The Greatest Estate Developer. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Write in the comment section down below what manhwa and manga you've been reading and I might just take a look. Till next time though, have a good read.